considered the one that was a deceiver, stole a blessing. But there's a blessing in the fact that he realized who he was in God, what he was to accomplish in God, and God was able to bless all of this and look beyond his mistake and his fault and bring him into a location where he started raising him up, taking him up into a higher location, causing my life to be more successful, my life to be more fruitful, my life to be more victorious, myself to get better. Now, there's a mindset we have, we don't watch it, that I'm okay the way I am. I want to say nice and clear, you're not okay the way you are. Especially if you're supposed to be clearing $200,000 a year and you're only getting 50, then you're not okay where you are. If you're supposed to be living in a 6-bedroom and owning 5 other houses and you're still in a 1-bedroom apartment, you're not okay then where you are. So I want to tell you, I don't want you to remain where you are. Look at someone and say, I will not remain where I am. Say, I'm going higher. Now that goes right back to what we read this morning out of 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 20. You got to watch who's also talking to you. It talked about them 2 boys that Paul had turned over to Satan. He gave them to Satan. Because their job in the church world at that time was to speak to people and mess them up so they couldn't go forward. You sure you're making the right move? You sure you're supposed to do that? Well, you know that can't be done. It'll probably all come together. Listen to this stupid thing that I've heard a lot of times. Everything will probably come together for you after you get a husband. That's a big lie. My footsteps are not directed and ordered by a husband or a wife. They're ordered by God. So I want God, and it says here, God is voicing this whole thing. 2 Chronicles, come with me. 2 Chronicles, chapter 26. God is voicing this whole thing, speaking this whole thing into being, handling everything, locking everything up for you so you can do well and be more than what you are right now. So now let's talk about prophetic operation. And forget me prophesying to you, Pastor Gail prophesying to you. Someone's already given you a word. You already had a dream. Anybody ever had a dream?
Amen.
Anybody ever seen a vision?
Amen.
Anybody had a dream you're supposed to have money?
Amen.
Then you're supposed to have money. Well, you never know how these things work. No, you dreamt it. Then you're supposed to have money. The purpose is to get this thing ignited so the money can start flowing. Then, you know, people will get upset when we're in the church and we start talking about money like that. But 2/3, or rather, if you allow me to say, 75% of the parables of Jesus Christ dealt with money. Now, that'll mess you up. I thought this was loving Jesus meek and mild. But Jesus spoke about money in 75% of the parables. Jesus asked the disciples, everybody come to my house. So he owned a house. They're gambling at the foot of the cross over Jesus' clothes. Why would you gamble over the man's clothes? Because he wasn't walking around wearing rags. He was well dressed when they took him into custody. I need to come to the conclusion that the God I serve desires for me to do well. These dreams you've had, these prophecies that have come, these revelations you've had, visions of business and this and that and so forth, then that means God wants to do it. You got to pray that thing and push that thing through. Somebody say amen. Amen. We're in 2 Chronicles, chapter 26, starting at verse 1. Come on.
Then all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in the room of his father Amaziah.
Now let me say this to you. It's not an age thing that brings success to you. It's a location of life. Somebody say amen. He's 16 years old. Don't try to miscalculate. Well, it really means he was, no, he was 16. He is a teenager, and he is the king of a nation because God has a position for you. Somebody say God has a location for me. He has a location and a position of life for you to do well, and he's speaking it as it said in Isaiah 58, and all you got to do is grab it, believe it, and start working with it. Read on first, Deacon.
He built Eloth and restored it to Judah.
Come on.
After that, the king slept with his fathers. 16 years old was Uzziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem.
Amen. His success or his lifespan wasn't until he was age 21. He is in